श्रीमान् वेंकटनाथार्य कवितार्किककेसरी वेदांताचार्यवर्ग्यो मे सन्निधत्तां सदा कृते श्रीवासरङ्गपरकालमुनित्रयाप्तलक्ष्मात्मरक्षणयतित्वयुगागमान्तम् आचार्यभक्तिपरिपूतमनर्गशीलं गोपालदेशिकमुनिं गुरुमाश्रयामः। व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकतातं तपोनिधिं। व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। Last week we were enjoying briefly about the questions which Yudhishthira seemed to have asked Bhishma and how Bhishma began to respond. We will see that in detail. All that Yudhishthira asked is asked again his grandfather Bhishma. That's why Vaishampayanar says, Shri Vaishampayana Vacha Shrutva Dharmana Seshena Pavanani Cha Sarvasaha Yudhishthira Shantanavam Punareva Bhyabhashata. Shri Vaishampayanar narrated this as another secret to the king Janamejaya, because King Janamejaya observed silence and refrained from further questioning because he felt satisfied that he had understood all about the tattvams, all about the truth, and from what had been told to him in various chapters about the Paratvam, about the Supreme Lord. Now Vaishampayanar is telling Janamejaya that having heard all dharmas, Kshatriya dharma, Yuga dharma, and all dharmas before, without anything being left out, all other rituals, anushtanams, purification acts, everything Yudhishthira learnt from Bhishma before. Now Yudhishthira addressed again, Punareva Abhyabhashata. Again, whom did he ask? Shantanu's son, Shantanu's son Bhishma. As we saw, Bhishma was a great yogi, great jnani, great devotee of Vishnu. So he had understood and revealed to himself the perfect knowledge. So in entirety, the Yudhishthira wanted to know. So he addressed again. And that's why we saw Yudhishthira Uvacha Kimekam Daivatam Loke Kim Vapyekam Parayanam Stuvantah Kam Archandaha Prapnuyur Manava Shubham Ko Dharma Sarva Dharmana Pavatah Paramo Mataha Kim Japan Muchyate Jantur Janma Samsara Bandhanat. See, if we are intelligent, when we grow mature, when we grow more and more matured, we feel that whatever that we had desired few years back are no longer appropriate now, because we have become matured, we have become more intelligent. We get to know that that's all, what a way I desired for such useless things. Now it looks so silly. And we become more and more evolved. When we get to know more and more about the next fruit, we were enjoying the little orange mithai, orange candy at the younger age. Now that's no longer a desire. We are now seeking some sundae, chocolate sundae, which is much more delicious. So our tastes change. Our enjoyment changes, our bogam changes, our fruits that we want, looking for, desirous of, change with respect to our age, maturity, jnanam, intelligence, vivekam, understanding the life. It changes. So we ultimately come to know that everything that we desire for is going to be alpam, is going to be very little, which is nothing, gross. So what's the ultimate objective that we need to know? perfect Perananda, absolute bliss, absolute enjoyment. That's what Yudhishthira wanted to know. He wanted to know what's the way in which I should attain that enjoyment, which is the biggest enjoyment. What is the best dharma that I need to follow in order to get that? Whom should I ask for that for? Who is the best person to ask? Who is the chief? Whom should I ask? So because he was so intelligent, he was so evolved, he was so knowledgeable, he grew up, he matured, he had these questions. And all of us, if you consider yourself intelligent, matured, knowledgeable, looking for something greater, bigger, achieve, ambitious, then we need to understand this question. And that's why Kimekam Daivatam Loke Kim Vapye Ko Dharma Sarva Dharmanam, all these questions. Ko Dharma Sarva Dharmanam Kimekam Daivatam Loke. Who is the one supreme deity according to the Shastras? Kim Vapyekam Parayanam. By reciting which mantra is a man released from bonds of birth and samsara. So these questions, Kimekam Daivatam Loke, Kim Vapyekam Parayanam, Stuvantakam. Which deity needs to be praised, worshipped? Stuvantakam, Kamarchandaha, who is need to be performed, worshipped, chanted. Ko Dharma Sarva Dharmana, which is the greatest dharma in your opinion, grandfather, tata? And Ko Dharma Sarva Dharmana Bhavatah Paramamataha, Kim Japan Muchyate Jantur Janma Samsara Bandhanat, which is the japam, which is the means that will release me from any more birth and death. Because Yudhishthira came to know that this is going to be never ending, the birth and death, life. Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, never ending. So which is the way I need to get rid of these things? So Bhishma Vacha, he starts and then he mentions about this. So Bhishma responds to these questions, and he responds in such a way that it is answering the response from the behind. So he says, a person who is ever and always engaged in praising the 1,000 names of the Lord, Sahasranamam. He said, Jagat Prabhum, Deva Devam, Anantam, Purushottamam. Stuvan Nama Sahasrena, Purusha Satatotitaha. He mentioned Sahasranamam here. These 6 questions are answered by Bhishma, not in their order, but in the reverse order, inverse order, sometimes in direct order. So considering the means is more important, because it is the basis for the goal. The means is the basis for the goal. So the relating to the goal is the last. The question relating to the goal is the last which he answers. So he starts with the reply starting with the means and the objects relating to the japam. Japam is constant utterance of the mantra. Here Bhishma said Ko Dharma. Here Bhishma mentions Jagat Prabhum Deva Devam. A person who is ever and always engaged, contemplated, reciting, in praising with the hymn, the stotrams or the names of 1,000 names, the Lord of this universe. He is the supreme God, Deva Devam, Devadi Devan. He is Devarajan. He is the highest one with no limitation with reference to time, no limitation with reference to the place, no limitation at all under any circumstances. He is the Lord of the universe. He is the Lord of the movables and the immovables. He is the Deva Deva. Just as the demigods occupy a higher position than ordinary human beings who serve the demigods, he is much, much higher than the demigod in his glory. And because they do service to him. When the Rakshasas, Asuras target and torture Devas, they go to the Ksirasagaram, the Parkadal, the Milky Ocean, and pray to Sriman Narayana on the If you consider the insect, the mosquito, the cockroach, if you consider us and the cockroach, how much is the difference between us and the cockroach? You know the difference. Similar difference is between us and the devas, the demigods, Indra, Varuna, Agni, all of them. That's the difference. And between them and Vishnu, that's the difference. Between cockroach and us, that's the difference. And the devas, all demigod, they are also born and they die. These are only the positions. These are only the sariram which they take. After the Jivatma finishes the Devendra cycle, he is born into some other birth. And the Devendra's position is taken up by another Jivatma. That is why Devendra gets disturbed when somebody performs tapas. When it is Vishwamitra performs tapas for thousands of years, Devendras start shaking. Oh my God, he is performing tapas. I think he is going to replace me. So kick him, send Manaka, tempt him, drop his tapas, disturb his tapas so that he does not come to my seat. He is worried. So it's all position. Whereas the proprietor, the owner of the corporation is Sriman Narayana. And that's why he is God of God. He is limitless, unlimited. Oppar Mikkar Ilayaya Mamayan, says Swami Nammalvar. He is unparalleled. There is nobody equal to him. What to talk about superior? There is nobody even equal to him, not to talk about superior. His generosity is supreme. He is so merciful, Paramadayalu. He takes avataram as Rama, Krishna, Devaki Nandana, who is standing in front of Bhishma and listening to this. And one who reaps this fruit? The Jivatma, Purusha. That's what he says. Parama Purusha is Sriman Narayana. Here, Jagat Prabhum, Devadevam, Anantam, Purusho Uttamam. He is Uttama Purushan. And this Purushan, Jivatma, needs to be ever engaged, continuous praises of thoughts of the Lord, which are very pleasing and beneficial to the devotees. Any break in such continuity, it causes him anguish. He wants to continuously recite the names. So, Kodharma Sarvadharmanam, he did that. Then, Tameva Charchayan Nityam Tatya Purusham Avyayam Dhyayan Stuvan Namasyamscha Yajamanastamevacha. Here he says he is engaged. The devotee is engaged in worshipping always with bhakti, parama bhakti, intense devotion. And that said person, the eternal, he meditates upon Vishnu, glorifying him, saluting him, prostrating him before him and adoring him. Dhyayan, Stuvan, Namasyamscha, Yajamanastamevacha. Dhyayan, contemplate, Stuvan, praises, Namasyamscha, prostrate, perform namaskaram, Dandavat pranamams. He performs, he falls down on the floor and does again and again. He contemplates again and again. And here it says the person who is the subject of japa is also the subject of worship. The last one, the supreme person who is the subject of the names, he is also to be worshipped. And that's what he says here. He is lotus-eyed Narayana, Purushottaman. He is eternal, Avyayam. And Archayan, we need to worship him always, Nityam. How to worship? Contemplating always on the Kalyana Gunams of the Lord. He is so simply, he is easily accessible to us. He comes to us in the Archa Rupam, in the temple near your place, in Srinivasa Perumal temple. He is there, he housing himself, making himself available to be seen, enjoyed by you. He takes that form out of his own accord, just for our pleasure, just for our contemplation, and whose minds are concentrated on me, whose lives are dependent on me. They cannot exist even for a moment without thinking of me. Krishna says in the 10th chapter, 9th sloka. How to worship? By meditating him on his Kalyana Gunams, Aachi Saulabhyam, Yelimai, easily accessible, easily available. And why should he take avataram as the cowherd boy and be tied down to a mortar by the illiterate mother Yashoda? So that we just think of his being bonded by being tied down by Yashoda, and all our tie down, all our bondage will get disengaged. If you think of his bondage to the world, to the mortar by Yashoda, all our samsaric bondage will get completely removed, Vedanta Desika says. So praising him by the reciting the Sahasranamam, by the reciting by word of mouth the various Kalyana Gunams, because Yani Namani Gaunani, all these namas reflect his qualities, his each virtuous qualities of Perumal. And by prostrating him, by bowing down, by performing Anjali, by folding our hands, how else we can do? By one who does worship to God, one who performs sincere bhakti or an incomparable, pure and pleasing worship, he is pleased with that, and he would bless us with all kinds of wealth, all kinds of material benefits, and ultimately the moksha samrajya, moksha anubhava. He would never ever let us suffer in the scorching naraka lokam. We know the story of Ajamilan. Ajamilan was born a Brahmin, but due to some karma vasanas, he was tempted by some girl on the way, and he was tempted and he went to her, started spending time with her, leaving his own family, and then he was completely desirous of that lady and started living with her, had all sorts of vices, all sorts of papams he did, and he had many children. He completely was fully in the sensual pleasures and amok behind the worldly pleasures, carnal desires, and he spent his life with her. But he named his last child as Narayana. On his deathbed, when he was about to die, he was so feeling bad that he was going to miss his last child because he was going to die. So he wanted to see the last boy who was playing in the street, on the road, maybe cricket. So he said, Narayana, come, I want to see you. And that time he passed away. He died. And all the Yamadutas came to take him away because of all his incorrigible papams which he had committed. So many sins that he had committed. They wanted to take him and put him in the scorching heat of the hell, Narakam. And the moment Yamadutas came, other side Vishnu Dutas came. Vishnu Dutas came and said, no, he belongs to us. Vishnu asked us to take him to Vishnu Lokam. Yamaduta said, come on, are you kidding? Are you joking? He has done so many papams. How can he be taken to Vishnu Lokam? He is an incorrigible sinner. We have got all the records recorded. They said, no way. If anybody calls his name like this at the end of his life, or even once, Slokam Soham Ekena Slokena, Bhagavan says, if you say one slokam, that's enough to please me. So here he calls Narayana, who is his son, not even about Vishnu, about Lord. So he called his son, which is no way connected with Perumal. By chance, his name was same as Perumal, by chance. So Perumal said, go, bring him to Vishnu Lokam. And they went and complained to Yamadutas. Yama whispered to their ears, my dear messengers, Dutas, it is true. If somebody utters the name of Vishnu, performs Nama Sankirtanam in their life, please don't go to them. You cannot go. No way. And hence, leave them. They are to be taken to Vishnu Lokam. And he mentioned that as a ragasyam to them. because otherwise people would not give respect to Yama. There are 101 people who are committing papams and not attending Vishnu Sahasranamam. There are only 14 of us who are learning now. When there are thousands and thousands outside are enjoying other things. So, Nama is so wonderful, so divine. Please let us continue to learn Vishnu Sahasranamam, recite Vishnu Sahasranamam, and recite almost without fail every day, if not at least every week, every Saturday. Adiyan. Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashaline Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha. Dhanyosmi.